What's happening? What's happening? Your boy Wild Carmar back in the building, and you are tuned into another episode of the I.O.W. Sports Network Sports Show, and we are talking football. We ain't talking baseball. The Olympics is over. We damn sure ain't talking no NBA basketball. No, we talking football because football is right around the corner. We're in the middle of training camp and preseason, and we're talking Green Bay Packers. So I reached out to a friend, good friend of mine. Knew nobody else that would be so educated about the Packers, so I had to bring him on. You're just gonna have to tune in and find out who it is. Let's go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You saw the top of the show. It's your boy Wild Carmar in the building. I.O.W. Sports Network, the sports show. We talk about all types of sports, but we talking about something in particular. We talking Green Bay Packers, getting all you Packers fans hyped for the 2024 NFL season. So I had to reach out to a good friend of mine. He's in Wisconsin, so he's tapped in with the team. He's right there. He knows about everything, what's going on with the team. He probably knows what they're eating for dinner tonight. I wouldn't be surprised. But I had to call into my man, Tyler Drummond, my guy, my brother from another mother. What's up, man?
I mean, could it have been anybody else? I mean, when you practically live in the shadow of Lambeau, I'll be honest with you, I haven't shared this story with you. There's a reason you wanted to pick me to be your Packers guy. I am the reason Green Bay drafted Jordan Love.
Oh, breaking news.
I am single-handedly the reason
the
Packers drafted Jordan Love.
Oh, this is breaking news. Look, we are breaking news right here on the I.O.W. Sports Show. My man T. Drummond is the reason why Jordan Love is there.
Yep.
I had no idea, man.
I think people should probably be making effigies of me in Packerland and praying to me just basically. So here's how it goes. Your boy Tyler, when he's not a Packers guy, is a cell phone guy. Mm-hmm. At the time, I was working at a cell phone store in Green Bay. I was working at AT&T. And I get a call from the GM, Brian Gutekunst's assistant, saying that Brian's internet in his house has gone down and he had a different internet provider, and we have to get this installed in 24 hours because it's virtual draft and he has to be at home with internet. What can you do? And I had to make 6 phone calls and talk to people that make vastly more money I do, but I was able to get a technician to his house that next morning. He got internet installed and used my internet to draft Jordan Love.
Ooh, so there y'all have it. Packers fans, might as well bow down. You're not worthy.
You're welcome. You all are welcome.
Well, let's start there, T. Let's start there, my brother. He gets paid. He gets the big money. He's now a $55 million a year quarterback.
It's a weird universe we live in when Jordan Love, with 1 year of experience, is making more money than Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, very, very. So let's speak upon it. Just kind of give us your thoughts and feelings on not only Jordan Love, but the contract. Or just encapsulate everything about Jordan Love. You know, him behind Rodgers, him finally getting the PT last year, and this year he's a big bag man, big money man.
The thing about the Packers, and the thing I've always enjoyed about being a Packer fan as far back as I can remember, even from the Brett Favre years, is that quarterback in waiting outside of Favre usually sits for a while behind the quarterback they're taking over from. Rodgers did it with Favre. Love did it with Rodgers. That's a good way to do it. You see these teams that throw these quarterbacks to the Wolves in week 1, and they get trounced. I mean, look at Bryce Young last year. He's probably a pretty serviceable quarterback if he was taller than 5'2". But the problem with him is he got thrown to the Wolves right away on a shitty team with no offensive line.
True that.
He got beat up and down the field. How is that supposed to help your confidence? So when you sit behind a proven starter like Favre or like Rodgers, you end up picking up a thing or two. And you could see it. You could see it when Rodgers was down, even though he was immune to COVID. You could see it when Rodgers had to sit because of COVID, and Love played that game against the Chiefs. He wasn't great, but you saw the little spurts. You saw the throws. You saw, oh, if this guy can kind of put it all together and the game slows down for him, he could be pretty good. And it slowed down for him last year. It took about 8 weeks. Those first 8 weeks were a little difficult to watch. I mean, he sliced up the Bears week 1, but I mean, fuck, everybody slices up the Bears. Although if you got a Bear guy, I'm sure he's going to be happy to be on this year because he's going to be wanting to be talking about that team. That's going to be a real good team in the NFC North, if not this year, in the next couple of years.
Man, so and crazy about Jordan Love that you brought up that Chiefs game in COVID, because he has some good parts and some bad parts. I think what pissed him off was the Chiefs put his mother in his mother in
the top fucking row of the end zone in the corner.
Oh, they put him all
further away from the field. There are like 6 malls in Kansas City that are closer to the field than his mother was. It's crazy.
And I think he remembered that because then when the Chiefs went to Lambeau last year, and I had a weird feeling. And one of my Chiefs friends, they was like, man, watch out for this game. I'm like, man, I ain't worried about the Packers. Next thing I know, I'm like, the hell is going on?
It was a Sunday night game. They even talked about it in the pre-show about how he felt disrespected because his mom had to sit all the way up there. And she's in the suite now on the 50-yard line, like where she should be.
Exactly. Speaking of Lambeau, what is it about that place that is so mystique, man? I mean, what is it about?
I think it's a little bit of everything. Now, it's weird because Lambeau is always top 5 as far as stadiums. Whenever they rank them, Lambeau's always in the top 5. Sometimes it's number 1, but you always see these people talking about like SoFi, talking about stadium out in the one in Minnesota, US Bank Stadium, all these just like Ford Field, these new age high tech stadiums. Lambeau doesn't have any of that shit. I mean, it's got some cool facilities on the inside, but when you go out into the field, you are sitting your ass on freezing cold aluminum bleachers. I mean, you can stand on one bleacher, you can walk all the way around the bowl of the field without having to go over a fence or a wall or anything. It's there's so many things that have happened in that stadium over the years. So many moments, so many players, so many legends that have touched that turf. And the fact that the Packers groundskeeping staff does an amazing job showing the rest of the NFL that you can grow grass in any climate. It just adds just adds to it. I mean, the fact that they're starting to build up the community around the Lambeau Field is really nice. They got the Titletown district now with restaurants and bars and stuff like that, and you're starting to get concert venues and stuff. So it's starting to become more of a destination. I mean, it's never going to be Miami, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I got you. On a scale of 1 to 10, you guys got the draft coming next season. How excited are you guys to be hosting the NFL draft?
4.
Okay.
Can I say that? Okay, so honestly, like you kind of asking
Tyler, we're honest on our show. Okay. All right.
You're asking the wrong guy. Like, I'm a 41-year-old father of 3. I don't want to walk through 150,000 freaking people just to hear names called, because I ain't going to get close enough. Names called over a loudspeaker when I could be sitting in my living room drinking beer for far less expensive and having a much better view. It's going to be an experience for the people that want to be there. Whether or not I'm going to be there, I'm not sure. My oldest kid, he's going to be 17 at the time. He wants to go down with a bunch of friends and just make a couple days of it. I'm all for that. I think it's going to be a cool experience. They've done a lot to Green Bay. It's going to be kind of a new unveiling of what they've done in the Titletown district. And I think it's going to be an awesome draft. It's going to be very similar, I think, to what they did in Detroit. With being very outside. Just interested to see how they're going to deal with the crowd because Detroit's more open. That outside of Lambeau. Have you been to Lambeau?
I've been a long time ago when I was
Okay.
like 8 or 9 years old.
So, like, outside of Lambeau, you've got decent parking, but once the parking lot fills up with cars and stuff like that, I mean, they probably won't allow that for the draft, but
Yeah.
I still know where you put 150,000 people downtown. I mean, they're going to be shutting off blocks of Green Bay.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun time, but it's going to definitely be a nightmare to try to get everybody around, I think.
I got you. Yeah, because when we ended up parking in somebody's yard. In the neighborhood.
Yeah, $20. There's a dude that's like 2 blocks from Lambeau. You could park. He's called the Park Shark. You can park in his yard. It's like $20 or $30. He has food. He's got drinks. It's awesome. Some people just park there just to tailgate at his house.
That's different.
It's a cool experience. You just don't see that in a whole lot of other communities. You don't see. I mean, I don't know. I've never been to Kansas City Stadium, but I've seen. When they show how long the line is to get into park for playoff games and stuff like that. When it's super cold outside, it's always like a mile long. But it seems like y'all got enough parking, on premises. It doesn't seem like there's people parking in yards like there is in Lambeau.
No. There's so much parking at the complex because when the Chiefs are playing or in season, the Royals are done. So it's because they share the complex.
Yep.
And so it's a lot of parking to do. So, but yeah, I always noticed that Green Bay and Kansas City kind of back and forth as an experience for fans. Not only the venue, but just the tailgating part, smelling of the food and all that goes on. It's an event. It
really is. I mean, people get there early in the morning and make an entire day out of it.
No doubt. Well, let's talk some football, man.
Let's talk football.
Obviously, you talk about Jordan Love getting a big contract, sitting behind Rodgers and all that. Were you slightly surprised at that playoff game when you guys just absolutely demolished the Dallas Cowboys?
I was surprised we won by as many as we did, but as a fan, I mean, I'm biased, obviously. I think they're going to win every game.
Yeah.
But as a fan, as someone who just kind of took a step back and just looked at the game as a whole, Green Bay was riding a ton of momentum, and Dallas was kind of limping coming into the playoffs a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be primed for the getting. I was surprised we rolled into their place and beat them by as many as we did, as handedly as we did. I don't think anybody was expecting that, but the way that team was clicking, I think it speaks to their youth. I'm really happy as a fan. I'm this guy when the new Madden football game comes out. I hate it because my team never has the Tyreek Hill. We never have the flashy player. We never have 99 speed. We never have the gadget plays or the offense you really want to play with. We're starting to get there. The youth, the speed, it plays to our advantage. And it allows us to pay our quarterback $55 million a year.
I love it. What are some of the concerns that you have for your Packers coming into this season, and things like that you like?
I would say the biggest concerns. The biggest concerns for me as a fan are going to be 1, special teams.
Okay.
And 2, the defense. And the only reason I say the defense is because I watched the preseason game. I don't think that the Browns brought out their offense, and I don't think anybody really shows, their full hand of what they've got, for the regular season. Yeah. But the defense looked electric. They were all over the field, the schemes, the blitzes, the stunts were coming from different directions. It's stuff you haven't seen in a Packers defense in a while. But they're young, and they've got a new offense or a new defensive coordinator, and they're making the switch for the first time in like 15 years from the 3-4 back to the 4-3. So I think that's going to allow them to stop the run a little bit better. I think it's going to allow them to get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. They were worse last year when the quarterback was able to sit in the pocket, hold the ball, and just wait for forever to find a target to come open. And I think that's true for pretty much any team. You've got great defenders, but they can only defend for so long. Those wide receivers are fast, man.
Yeah.
And I think the run defense sucked too. And I think run defenses in a 3-4 scheme are very, very nuanced. We didn't have the personnel for it, but we do in a 4-3. So I'm excited about it.
Okay.
And the special teams. I mean, maybe we're still playing football if Anders Carlson hits that 40-yard field goal against the Niners to put us up 3. But he misses it, and what happened? We lose by 3. You got to admit, you going in, I think we talked about it before the game, you going in called the Niners. But I think we both knew it was going to be a close game. Green Bay did to the Niners what they did to Dallas on a slightly lesser level for 3 quarters that whole game. They just couldn't close it out in the 4th quarter. They just couldn't close it out. The defense and the special teams let them down.
Yeah, and like you said, that only speaks to just inexperience, being young. I think, and now being a year later, I think a majority of your team that was in that game, they're like, we had him.
Yeah, had him. I mean, you had him up against the ropes. You just kind of let him get away.
Oh, without a doubt. I can honestly say that I wouldn't have been surprised the way that game was going out, that you guys would have been in that NFC Championship game against Detroit. I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah. And that would have been a fun matchup because they're a fun team to play. Those are some very, very intense football games. It's amazing how they've kind of become the rival, but they're a fun team to play every year.
No doubt. You bring in a new running back, Josh Jacobs. Get him
controversial decision.
Yeah, how you feel about it, man?
I mean, Aaron Jones was a leader in more ways than one. I mean, he was a great running back, but he was a locker room guy, and you need those core locker room people. But Josh Jacobs gives you something that Aaron Jones really didn't, and that's that Josh Jacobs is almost like if you took Aaron Jones and a little bit of A.J. Dillon, if A.J. Dillon could get that 1 yard run, and you put them together, you kind of get that in Josh Jacobs. He's more of a bruiser, but he's definitely got that home run. I mean, you've seen it. He played home runs against the Chiefs.
Trust me, I am happy he's in Green Bay. All right, I am absolutely thrilled he's not in Vegas no more.
The other thing too is he's definitely better suited out of the backfield as a pass catcher than Aaron. And Aaron Jones was serviceable as a pass catcher, but Josh Jacobs could put up 80 catches in a year. He's definitely a guy who catches the ball out of the backfield. And when you have 5 receivers and no number 1 receiver and 2 tight ends and a running back, I mean, Jordan Love's not going to need a guy to have 1,500 yards. He's going to need to have 4 guys that have 800 yards, and that's exactly what he's going to have.
Yeah. Here's what I also appreciate about Josh Jacobs. He's durable. And that's not a knock on Aaron Jones. I absolutely am a big fan of Aaron Jones. I just always felt that maybe the Packers didn't get the full potential out of Aaron Jones because he was just on the sideline sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the breaks when you play football. He
put the ball on the turf in a lot of big moments too. And I mean, I could never do the job, so I'm not going to sit here and critique a grown man for fumbling the ball when he gets hit by another grown man. But man, when you're the running back, you gotta hold on to the ball.
Hold on to the damn ball.
You don't see Barry Sanders doing that. You didn't see Saquon Barkley doing that. I mean, those guys hold on to the ball.
Yeah, gotta hold on to it, man.
Can we talk about the wide receivers? I want to talk about the wide receivers.
Hey, go ahead. I mean, I think you guys got a solid core. I
think solid is underselling it. I think this group is going to be electric. They can do it all. So, first of all, the smartest thing they could have done is find a hamstring specialist to work with Christian Watson, because you've seen it in bits and pieces. He can be the number 1 wide receiver, and I think that's why they're so apt to not want to make a move, not want to sign anybody, not try to move anybody, because he's their guy. He just has to stay healthy. Now, last year we saw him take a knee and rip his hamstring up, so I have very small expectations for a man who tries to take a knee to keep the clock running and tears his hamstring up so much that he can't really play the rest of the year. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, he's electric, man. That guy can fly. He's 6'3", 6'4", runs like a fucking gazelle.
Yeah.
And then you've got Jaden Reed, your slot guy, who acts like a number 1 wide receiver. For all intents and purposes, the biggest wide receiver out of training camp right now is Romeo Doubs. I mean, he's getting so much praise. They're calling him the number 1 wide receiver. Everything is sticking to him. He's catching touchdown passes galore from Love. And then you've still got guys like Bo Melton and Dontavian Wicks, who is the 5th guy I mentioned as a throwaway, but caught the 65-yard touchdown pass in the preseason game. Like,
that was a beautiful throw, pitch catch.
It was a gorgeous throw. And the thing is they broke that play down post-game, and they show when you have that many wide receivers on the field, how they were able to pull away that safety coverage so he dropped instead of falling back, and all Wicks had to do was get past the cornerback, which he did with ease.
Yeah. You know what? Now that you bring it up, I guess I really didn't pay attention to how solid, which is, obviously just based off what I've seen so far in the preseason, how good that wide receiver core is. I think there's a good chance that people might start looking them, haven't changed up their tune about that wide receiver
I
core.
think so. People don't really talk about how exciting that wide receiver room is. And the thing is they're probably only going to keep 5. Okay.
Mhm.
Because I don't know that you can keep more than that, because you also want to keep a couple of tight ends more than
Yeah.
you probably have to keep. But we still got guys like, if you watch the whole preseason game, yeah, okay, the second stringers and the third stringers, it's usually garbage mop up time. Okay. They're not playing against you're not playing against the number one. You're not, Ahmad Sauce Gardner is not covering you in the third quarter of preseason game number 1. But Grant Dubois went off, man. I mean,
Yeah.
he had a great game. And then you got guys like Malik Heath. This team's probably 8 wide receivers deep, and they'll be lucky to squeeze them back onto the practice squad.
Yeah. Because I got a feeling there's a lot of scouts looking at your team right now. I'm like, make sure you get him off the practice squad when he don't make the roster.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about in division. How are you feeling about the Packers measuring up to the rest of the teams in the division?
I mean, I think they finished either first or second.
Okay.
I'm hopeful they finish first. The Bears are going to be the wild card, because I don't know if anybody knows what the Bears are going to bring yet. I think Caleb Williams has the potential to be a really, really good quarterback. He could be a generational quarterback. But I also watched a lot of his games at USC last year, and he looked average in some of those games against competition he should have looked excellent against.
True that.
But he's got some wide receivers now. He's got DJ Moore. He's got Rome Odunze, or how do you pronounce his last name?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some serious wide receivers. He's another year with Cole Kmet. I think they signed Swift. So they've got somebody coming out of the backfield. They'll be good. They'll probably win 8-9 games. I think the Vikings are going to be the team that finishes in the cellar this year, because they don't have a quarterback, and who knows how long JJ is going to be out.
Yeah, with that torn meniscus, as we record this, that news dropped today. That torn meniscus, and especially after he had an actually solid showing in that preseason game, and not to knock Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's not taking you to the promised land. Let's be honest here. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Of course. He's there to just make sure that the boat don't sink. But the only thing is he's not the guy, the captain, to make sure you don't sink. So
he's not. And the thing is the generation of a quarterback like Trent Dilfer leading you to a Super Bowl championship, those days are over. You've got to have a superstar. And most of the quarterbacks are superstars.
Yeah.
So one of the hobbies that I've really gotten into is card collecting. And it's going to be crazy with the 2024 cards that come out here. How many teams have quarterbacks that you're going to be collecting? I mean, everybody avoids the Bears this year. They have nobody. Everybody's going to want him next year. He's the new CJ Stroud. It's crazy how many good quarterbacks are in this league now. And it's really nice to have one of them, as I'm sure you're aware with your 7 Super Bowl titles and,
Oh man, no, I'm gonna take as many Super Bowl wins as long as Patrick keeps giving them to me. So, look, I'll be honest. I didn't even know if we was ever gonna get one in my lifetime, because it's been some dark days.
I think he's got a couple more left in that arm, at least.
I'll gladly take them. So if you were to rank the NFC North right now, obviously 1 being the best, 4 being the worst, go ahead. How would you rank this division right now?
So let's go Detroit at 1A, and we'll go Green Bay at 1B. Okay. I would put Green Bay at number 1, but I don't know what their defense is going to look like, and I know what Detroit's defense looks like. So we'll say Detroit's going to be is the clear favorite at this point. We'll put Green Bay in the 1B or the 2 slot. Chicago's definitely in the 3 slot, and I think Minnesota's going to finish 4th. I don't think Minnesota wins more than 6 games this year.
Ooh. Man, that's a hot take. I'm gonna definitely clip that. I definitely can't wait to hear what the Viking fans say about that one.
I mean, T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, and Justin Jefferson still will not make a superstar of Sam Darnold.
And you're standing on that.
I'm standing on that.
I love it. Last question before I get you out of here, my brother. Just go ahead and just give us the overall breakdown synopsis on how you think the Green Bay Packers will do enough to not only win the division, but make some noise in the playoffs. Go ahead.
I mean, I think they're going to finish the regular season either 11-6 or 12-5.
Okay.
I think the game in Brazil is going to be an interesting game to watch. That's going to be the decider of whether or not they lose 6 games or lose 5 games. If they can go down there and take care of business, which I think they will, I think it's going to be looking like a good season. I think they'll be one of the teams that end up with a first-round bye. I don't think they're going to have home field advantage throughout the whole round, but I think that second round is going to go through Lambeau. I think they're going to end up in the NFC Championship game. I think we're still a year away from a Super Bowl berth. We probably lose to a little bit more experienced team like a Detroit maybe in the NFC Championship game, or maybe we lose to a team like a San Francisco again. Although, honest to God, I'd love to stop losing those freaking guys. It reminds me a lot of watching the Packers in the 90s with Brett Favre when they couldn't overcome that hump in 92, 93, 94, 95 of the Dallas Cowboys. It was like just losing to Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irving year after year. It's getting old.
I get it. San Francisco's been a thorn in your damn side in the playoffs.
Yeah, honestly, we should have won probably 2 or 3 of those games.
Yes, that is true. That is true. We can't forget about even when Kaepernick.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about kicking the field goal on 4th down. All right, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. So I don't follow a whole lot of other football teams other than the Packers. Obviously, as close as I follow the Packers.
Yeah.
So maybe stop me if I'm 100% wrong, but I don't remember an NFL franchise losing quite as many games in heartbreaking fashion as the Green Bay Packers. I mean, we're talking about some crazy stuff. We're talking about kicking a field goal on 4th down. We're talking about losing the Fail Mary. We're talking about losing in the game against the Arizona Cardinals when Rodgers gets sacked and it gets returned for a damn touchdown.
Yes.
Larry Fitzgerald going for like 900 receiving yards. They lose some games in some funky the onside kick in Seattle. Man, it's rough to be a fan of the Packers sometimes, but I love them. Only franchise without an owner.
Hey, the only franchise that even you could get stakes in ownership. So
yeah, let's not peddle that bullshit. So that's one of the things. I love Packer fans, man, and I was sitting, I'll talk with Packer fans all day long. But when they pull out them certificates and tell me they're an owner, I'll be like, nah. You gave the team a little bit of money, you got a cool ass certificate, but they ain't inviting you into any board meetings. You don't have a say on which free agents come in. They bring you to Lambeau Field for 3 hours once a spring to kowtow to you and let you ask them questions that they don't really give you answers to because you don't deserve the information at all.
You just walking around with your funky ass certificate.
The cooler part to me was I think it was the 96 or the 97 playoffs. It was right after we beat San Francisco in the divisional round. It was the year we won the Super Bowl, but that was a really sloppy game at Lambeau. It was unseasonably warm. It had rained. The field just got torn up. So they took that field and broke it into little 2x2 chunks, and they put those things in boxes and sold them in Lambeau Field's parking lot for $20 a hit, and had them sold out within about 30 minutes.
Hey, you guys are loyal out there, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how many chance to own a piece of the frozen tundra was just cool.
Yeah, no, that's pretty dope.
Certificate, not so much, but the actual field I'll take.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, man, this has been fantastic. I literally woke up and I was like, man, I need somebody to talk Packers, and just a light bulb just went off in my head because we were talking about your weight loss journey.
Yeah,
I was like, boom. I was like, that's when I reached out. I was like, what you doing Tuesday, bro? Let's go.
Well, hopefully I did okay. I know you get a lot of experts on here, so hopefully I held my own as far as Packers knowledge and get the fans ramped up for a little bit of what they're going to see this year.
When it comes to Packers, you are an expert, sir. That's why you're here.
Who I am. Who I am.
That's why you're here. Hey, Drummy, I appreciate you, my brother. If there's anything you want to plug, go ahead. And the floor is all yours.
I don't really have anything to plug. You throw me on the spot here. You should tell me to plug some. I don't really have anything. I don't have any side hustles or anything to plug, but I will plug to tune into as many Packer games as you can this year because they are going to be an exciting team. That defense is going to light things up, I think. Xavier McKinney is going to be a ball hawk. That linebackers are going to shut the run down. This is going to be a fun team to watch. No doubt, no doubt. Hey, y'all know where to find me. I.O.W. Sports Network, all the social media platforms at the bottom of your screen. And if you want to follow me, y'all know me. I got so many podcasts like I'm Jamaican. Just going over to my Twitter account right here, right next to my finger. Twitter, KC Wildcard. Tap in with me. On behalf of my good brother, Tyler Drummond, I'm the Wildcard Mar. We out, man. Have a fantastic evening.